Welcome back, Rare Talks. You already know what it is. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't, make sure you go over to the Spotify and check out the exclusive episodes we got on the Spotify. And today we're back with another Rare Reactions. And I can't stress to you lot how wild this episode is actually gonna be. It's one of the wildest episodes I've done. This episode is called My Childhood Was Ruined. Detransitioner. So we have the transgender community, and then we have something called detransitioners. People that done the change and then went back, and their story and how that affects people. So today we're just reacting to this video. Now, trigger warning before I get cancelled on all these social media websites. I think it's important that before we even have conversations like this, we put some context in. First of all, I believe that everybody has the freedom to be what they want to be. I genuinely believe that. Whether you want to be an astronaut, whether you want to be, I don't know, whatever you want to be, I believe that you are able to be. But when it comes to your gender, I believe, and this is my opinion, that you are God-given an agenda. You're God-given agenda by God. That has nothing to do with what you can and cannot be. So just before we start, some of these topics might be very sensitive to some people that have done things in the past and they're regretting it, or they're still in the process of doing it. But I genuinely believe I don't look down on anyone because I understand that everybody has their journeys. But this video is about My Childhood Was Ruined. It's by Chloe Cole. So we're going to listen to this video right now.
My name is Chloe Cole, and I am a detransitioner. Another way to put that would be, I used to believe that I was born in the wrong body, and the adults in my life whom I trusted affirmed my belief, and this caused me lifelong, irreversible harm. I speak to you today as a victim of one of the biggest medical scandals in the history of the United States of America. I speak to you in the hope that you will have the courage to bring the scandal to an end and ensure that other vulnerable teenagers, children, and young adults don't go through what I went through. At the age of 12...
So first of all, she said scandal. I never used these words. She used these words. She said scandal. The biggest scandal ever to be pulled off. This is what she said. So I don't know why she would say that, but let's get into it. Her family and adults around her affirmed that she was born into the wrong body. For me to hate the color of my skin, for me to look in the mirror and say, why am I black? I want to be white. And everyone's like, yep, you deserve to be white. It wouldn't make sense. But then we'll take something, to me, color is less harmful because you can bleach and do stuff. Maybe you won't ever get there, but you know what I'm saying? But with your gender, it's what makes you who you actually are in society. And I'll give you the example. As a man, I have genitals. So there's going to be an age where I have a wet dream. So I'm going to sit my son down and tell him that when he wakes up and the bed's wet and he's like, oh, I wet the bed. You never wet the bed, son. You had a wet dream. What was he dreaming about? Oh man, dad, you don't want to know. See, it's a great time. Or when your daughter's about to give birth for the first time. So we know that humans, we know this biologically, and I'm not speaking out of turn. Humans are of two genders, male and female species. And when these two species come together in union, a child and reproduction is born through that. That's what we know as a fact. For my child to grow up and say, I'm in the wrong body, then there has to be something other going on in the child's mind. I don't believe that we should automatically push a sex change on a child. I feel like we need to do more research on the child's mental state and where this is coming from. And if we can take our time to see if we can get therapy and other stuff. I don't think a child should just be like, yeah, well, I just want to do it. And then we encourage it. Does it make sense? That's my personal opinion. But anyway, let's go back into it.
At the age of 12, I began to experience what my medical team would later diagnose as gender dysphoria. I was well into an early puberty, and I was very uncomfortable with the changes that were happening to my body. I was intimidated by male attention, and when I told my parents that I felt like a boy, in retrospect, all I meant was that I hated puberty, that I wanted this newfound sexual attention to go away, that I looked up to my brothers a little bit more than I did to my sisters. I came out as transgender in a letter I sent on the dining room table. My parents were immediately concerned. They felt like they needed to get outside help from medical professionals, but this proved to be a mistake. It immediately set our entire family down a path of ideologically motivated deceit and coercion. The gender specialist I was taken to see told my parents that I needed to be put on puberty-blocking drugs right away. They asked my parents a simple question: would you rather have a dead daughter or a living transgender son? The choice was
Wow. Imagine you've gone for help and the first thing they've said to do is like, yeah, put him on transgender blocking tablets. That escalated very fast. Like, as a teenager, you're not even realizing how fast this thing's escalating. It's just escalating. And that's where the problem lies. Some of these children are vulnerable and don't realize the consequences to their actions until it's done. Because they're young. You can't get mad at a child for making mistakes or not really knowing. It's us as parents that we're meant to like love them and take good care of them.
It was enough for my parents to let their guard down. And in retrospect, I can't blame them. This was the moment that we all became victims of so-called gender-affirming care. I was fast-tracked onto puberty blockers and then testosterone. The resulting menopausal-like hot flashes made focusing on school impossible. I still get joint pains and weird pops in my back, but they were far worse when I was on the blockers. A month later, when I was 13, I had my first testosterone injection. This caused permanent changes to my body. My voice will forever be deeper, my jawline sharper, my nose longer, my bone structure permanently masculinized, my Adam's apple more prominent, my fertility unknown. I look in the mirror sometimes and I feel like a monster. I had a double mastectomy at 15. They tested my amputated breast for cancer. And I was cancer-free, of course. I was perfectly healthy. There was nothing wrong with my still developing body or my breasts, other than that, as an insecure teenage girl, I felt awkward about it. After my breasts were taken away from me, the tissue was incinerated. Before I was able to legally drive, I had a huge part of my future womanhood taken from me. I will never be able to breastfeed. I struggle to look at myself in the mirror at times.
Wow. This is actually really deep because you can see that this person, I don't think this young lady knew the consequences of her actions. And it's sad that she had to get to this point with her parents being involved in her life and not actually taking proper care of her. You know, she said she can't even look at her body now. Do you know how traumatizing that is as a human to not love the body that you have? Like, this body that you have is a blessing. One day it will die. She said before she could legally drive, this is what was going on with her body. That means before she could actually think for herself.
I still struggle to this day with sexual dysfunction. And I have massive scars across my chest. And the skin grafts that they took of my nipples are weeping fluid today. And they were grafted into a more masculine positioning, they said. After surgery, my grades in school plummeted. Everything that I went through did nothing to address my underlying mental health issues that I had. And my doctors, with their theories on gender, thought that all my problems would go away as soon as I was surgically transformed into something that vaguely resembled a boy.
Wow. So Chloe's saying that she had mental health issues that was leading her down this rabbit hole of why she felt like this. There was actually mental health issues, and it's good to listen to people like this because it gives you the other side of the coin of what actually happens inside of the mind of somebody that's gone through this and where it ends up. You know what I'm saying? She said something that vaguely resembled a boy.
Their theories were wrong. The drugs and surgeries changed my body, but they did not and could not change the basic reality that I am and forever will be a female. When my specialist first told my parents that they could have a dead daughter or a live transgender son, I wasn't suicidal. I was a happy child who struggled because she was different. However, at 16, after my surgery, I did become suicidal. I'm doing better now, but my parents almost got the dead daughter promised to them by my doctors. My doctors had almost created the very nightmare they said they were trying to avoid. So what message?
Doctors said you can have a dead daughter or a transgender son. And in the end, she became suicidal and wanted to take her own life. And I still believe that by even hearing this, it sounds like there could be an ounce of suicide in her that she's trying to fight right now because of what has happened to her. Because she said her breasts are still leaking fluid, but it will never be the same. She can never breastfeed again, meaning if she did try to have a child, it would be difficult for her. These things need to be discussed in a little bit more detail, and I generally believe that there needs to be more emphasis put on how we can actually help somebody who's going through this mental breakdown. That's the diagnosis that I was seeing. This person's going through something mentally, and we're pushing them. How many girls did I go to school with, or you went to school with, and they were tomboys, but now they're married and they're girly? It happens. They got children, they got lives. It makes sense. You're not always going to be one way, so I don't think you should make lifelong decisions as a teenager. That's my advice to myself, you know what I'm saying?
So what message do I want to bring to American teenagers and their families? I didn't need to be lied to. I needed compassion. I needed to be loved. I needed to be given therapy to help me work through my issues, not affirm to my delusion that by transforming into a boy, it would solve all my problems. We need to stop telling 12-year-olds that they were born wrong, that they are right to reject their own bodies and feel uncomfortable with their own skin. We need to stop telling children that puberty is an option, that they can choose what kind of puberty they will go through, just so they can choose what clothes to wear or what music to listen to. Puberty is a rite of passage to adulthood, not a disease to be mitigated. Today, I should be at home with my family celebrating my 19th birthday, and instead I'm making a desperate plea to my elected representatives. Learn the lessons from other medical scandals like the opioid crisis, to recognize that doctors are human too, and sometimes they are wrong. My childhood was ruined along with thousands of detransitioners that I know through our networks. This needs to stop. You alone can stop it. Enough children have already been victimized by this barbaric pseudoscience. Please let me be your final warning. Thank you.
Wow. That video was powerful, man. And if I'm being honest with you, it actually touched my soul because you can tell that she's really trying to plead out to the world about something that if I'm being honest, I've never really heard this side of the coin. I always hear the other side, but I've never actually heard this side. And it's a breath of fresh air to hear somebody speaking up and not being scared. Now, my thing is there a community of people called the detransitioners? And where are they? And where can we find them? Because I'd like to do a whole podcast with somebody who's actually gone through that and see both sides of it. Someone who's happy about it and someone who's not happy about it. And the health issues that they have with it. Because there's obviously going to be health issues when you're mutilating parts of your body. You know, if you have breasts and you cut the breasts off and surgically move them and take the nipple out, it's going to have problems. It's anything that's natural that you go against the order, it will have other effects naturally. Just like global warming. We know what the effects of global warming is today. It's meant to be summer, but it's raining hard outside. It's August the 2nd, bro. It's meant to be blazing hot and it's raining where it's warm. So it's crazy how, you know, when you go against the natural order, what happens? So yeah, this is a quick video, man. We need people to start speaking up more and making a stand for themselves, because I've never really, this is my first time watching this video and doing a reaction video to it. I never saw it before. I never knew about these type of people. I just saw it pop up and I thought, let me do a reaction video to it because it looks like a good topic to talk about. So yeah, people, man, if your child is going through like any gender dysphoria, then get in touch with a medical expert, but don't make them make the decision for you as a parent. You as a parent ultimately have the final say over your child. Do what's best for your children. Don't let nobody tell you what's best for your child. Remember, that's your child. I say it again, your child, not anybody else's. So don't let anybody try and twang you, oh, your child's doing this, oh, your child's doing that. bro, if my child's bad, then it's on me to make my child better. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. Parents, be aware and don't listen to everything doctors say. You know what I'm saying? Rare Talks were out. You already know. Bow.